Hey guys, what is going on? Jurgen from ZurGrinoSports here, and today we are reviewing Wrestlemania 33, which happened last night as I'm recording this, and this video should go up today as well. Before we get into individual matches and everything, I think Mania this year was pretty good. There were a lot of memorable moments, and the majority of the matches were pretty good. There were some really high highs, but at the same time, for me at least, there were some really low lows. And we'll get more into depth in that as we go along the matches. But yeah, I think this Mania, for me especially, exceeded expectations, because in my predictions video, I said I didn't have high hopes for this Mania, and it actually turned out pretty good in my eyes. On the subject of my predictions videos, I got like half of them right, so I didn't do too good with my predictions. But I think that was me being a bit like of a pessimist with some of my predictions, and then some of my other predictions, WWE were just like, yeah, like that makes sense, but we're gonna do this though. And that it was like, yeah. Anyways, we'll get into this. We'll start with all the pre-show matches, obviously, and they started the show off with the cruiserweight title match: Neville versus Austin Aries. By the way, the women's title match, the SmackDown women's title match, is not on the pre-show like it was at the time of my predictions video. I think the day before Mania, they bumped it up to the main show. So yeah, so they started with the cruiserweight title match, Neville versus Austin Aries. It was a decent match, It was, it wasn't anything special like I thought it would be. They didn't really get too much time, but it was a good match nonetheless. Neville retained with what did he do? He raked the eyes of Austin Aries, where he had his broken orbital socket or whatever the fuck, and then he won the match. I forget. I think he used the red arrow. Yeah, he used the red arrow to finish the match, which I guess is all right, because it's like he couldn't beat him any other way, so he had to do that, which is fitting with Austin Aries, because Austin Aries is a very credible contender. But yeah, good match, some good wrestling in ring and all that. But yeah, Neville retained. Next, you had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and this pissed me off right off the bat. Mojo fucking Rawley won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I was heated at this because you had Braun fucking Strowman in there, you had Sami Zayn in there, you had Luke Harper in there, you had Dolph Ziggler in there. You had so many people in that battle royal who are so much more talented and so much better than Mojo fucking Rawley, who doesn't belong in a wrestling ring. And they give it to Mojo Rawley because some fucking sports guy who I don't even fucking know, his name was like Kronk or Gronk or some bullshit like that, I don't even fucking know, like, oh, whatever. He was in the fucking crowd, and he's friends with Mojo, apparently, and fucking, like, they literally had Mojo win because they wanted that celebrity guy, that sports guy, to, like, celebrate with him in the ring. Because, like, Jinder Mahal threw Mojo through the middle rope, and then, like, beat him up near that guy, and then, like, took the guy's drink and threw it in his face. And then he jumped the barricade, and the security didn't even know that he was part of the fucking show. So the security tried to, like, put him back, and then the refs were like, no, he's cool. So they had to stop the security guard. And then after they stopped the security guard from stopping him, they were like, okay, you gotta stop though, bro, just to, like, keep kayfabe alive, you know what I mean? But yeah. It's, I don't know, man. It's fucking, I didn't like it. And then he did like a running shoulder block on Jinder after he got in the ring and all that shit. I don't know. It's just, it was bullshit. They could have given it to Braun. Braun should have won it. Braun fucking like a month ago was the fucking monster. And then all of a sudden they're like, nah. He fucking backed down from Undertaker, and he backed down from... No, he didn't back down from anybody else. But yeah, he backed down from Undertaker, and he fucking can't win the Battle Royal that he's in. It's like, whatever, man. I don't know. That's a fucking... that is probably one of the lowest lows of the night, because Mojo's fucking garbage and should be nowhere near a wrestling ring. And then the next thing that happened, the match itself is fine that I'm going to talk about, but the Intercontinental Championship was on the pre-show, and I think this just illustrates how shit of a champion Dean Ambrose has been. Because I'm happy for the SmackDown women's getting promoted to the main roster, because all of them are talented and all of them deserve to be on the main roster. But for me, not more so than the Intercontinental Championship on its own, because it has such a lineage and it's such a historical belt. And if Miz was still champion, that title would be on the main fucking show, without a shadow of a doubt. And it just shows how shit of a champion Dean Ambrose has been, because Dean Ambrose has done nothing for the championship, and not even, he's literally undone all the work that Miz did as the champion. And I don't see what creatives see in Dean Ambrose. I don't see what some of the fans see in Dean Ambrose. And I've never liked Dean Ambrose, and he's boring. For the past 2 years, he's been this wacky fucking guy, and it's like, oh look, I'm wacky, I'm crazy, blah blah blah, blah, blah look, blah, blah, blah. And his promos are fucking weird. His facial expressions are fucking weird as shit. They don't make sense. The guy's I don't even know how to explain it. His just facial expressions are like he's in some fucking 90s cartoon and he's in a fucking wrestling match. Fuck off, man. I don't know. He's just I just don't like Dean Ambrose, man. His moveset is basic as fuck. Every time I see him do the lunatic lariat or whatever it's called, that fucking rope rebound clothesline thing, I want to fucking hang myself because that move is so fucking stupid. Yeah, man, he's just, there's a reason. I remember listening to a shoot interview by, I think it was Kevin Owens on Chris Jericho's podcast, or something like that, and he did an interview with him, and somebody asked him about his relationship with Sami Zayn and all that, and they talked about how him and Sami went to CZW, and while everybody was hitting each other with lights and chairs and making each other bleed and doing hardcore shit, those two just put on wrestling matches that tore the house down. And Dean is that typical he'll fucking jump through tables, he'll get hit in the head with a fucking light tube, he'll fucking cut himself with barbed wire, go through fucking flaming tables, jump off a ladder. He's that guy. He's not a wrestling guy, he's a spot guy. He's a spot monkey, as broken Matt Hardy would say. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, for fucking a 6-year-old, maybe he's good, but for me, man, nah, I don't. There's a time and place for cool spots like that, but you also have to know how to wrestle too, and it's just, I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of him. Anyways, the match itself was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't anything special either. But Dean retained in the end, off of one Dirty Deeds, which, by the way, pisses me off that the Dirty Deeds is the most fucking protected move since the fucking pedigree. I mean, not even John Cena's FU or attitude adjustment, whatever the fuck. That's not even as protected as the dirty fucking Dirty Deeds anymore. I don't know, man. Whatever. That was the last match of the pre-show. Yeah, it was okay. Nothing special, as can be expected from Dean Ambrose. I think Baron Corbin should have won, as I said in my predictions video. I think it was probably time to put the belt on him, and then, But anyways, on to the main show, and they started off with AJ versus Shane McMahon, which was very smart on their part, because that way nobody would be disappointed that Shane didn't jump off of anything insanely high. And I will admit my hopes for the match were not the greatest. And it was more so my hopes for the result of the match, which weren't the greatest, but also I didn't think the match would be anything special. I didn't think the match would be shit, because AJ Styles is in it. AJ Styles could have a 4-star match with a broomstick. Let's be fucking honest. He's that damn good. But the match was spectacular. It was really, really good. It was a little bit sloppy at points, but it's hard not to expect that from Shane McMahon. He's not a wrestler, you know what I mean? So it's but the match itself was really, really good. they, yeah, man, it was, there was a ref bump, and then AJ tried a coast to coast with the trash can, but Shane got up and threw the trash can in his face, and then Shane did a coast to coast. Shane did a fucking elbow through the table, but AJ moved. Fucking Shane did a shooting star press. The man's like 45, 46, 46, I don't know, like late 40s. He's in his late 40s, and he's not even a fucking wrestler, and he's doing a shooting star press, which missed, by the way, but like Jesus, the man's fucking insane. But yeah, AJ won, which I'm so happy about. And in my predictions video, I thought that Shane would win and they'd send AJ to Raw, because Vince always treats Raw with like priority. I'm really happy that's not what's happening, because SmackDown needs stars, especially with John Cena taking a break to shoot the movie or whatever. But yeah, really, really good match. I think it far exceeded expectations, and they got a good amount of time too. It was really good. Very, very good match to start the show. Then next was Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho for the U.S. title. This match, it's a bit of a shame that it was this early, but really good match as can be expected. It was a really good, not only like the in-ring part, but it was a really good storytelling match as well. Yeah, it was the way it ended was the powerbomb on the apron from Kevin Owens to Chris Jericho. Kevin Owens won the U.S. title, which is the right call, obviously, because Jericho's going to go tour with Fozzy. And it was a good way to write Jericho off for a bit, because that move it injured Sami Zayn down in NXT. He was injured for like a month or two or something like that, from that pop-up powerbomb onto the apron. It didn't really do anything to John Cena. He was back in like a week or two because it's John Cena. But yeah, really good match, really good, decent finish. The right person won. They did it in a good way. Nothing more to say. Really good match. Next, you had the Raw Women's Championship Elimination Fatal 4-Way match. This match was lackluster to me. I think it was kind of obvious that it got cut short, as a lot of the matches after this. It was kind of obvious that they got cut short for something that we'll talk about. It was... so they did some things really good, and then they did some things really poorly in this match, in my opinion. One thing that they did really good is that they all had to team up against Nia, which protected her, because they want to build her as like this like Braun Strowman-esque, Authors of Pain-esque, like unstoppable force, kind of like they did on TakeOver when the Revival and DIY teamed up to try and eliminate Authors of Pain. They did the same thing where Charlotte, Sasha, and Bayley had to team up to get rid of Nia Jax. They all pinned her simultaneously, all three of them pinned her at the same time. After doing, they did a fucking powerbomb on her, like a double power. It was fucking crazy. And then that was good, and Charlotte did a corkscrew moonsault from the turnbuckle to the outside, like she usually does at the big matches. She usually does some fucking crazy shit like that, which was really nice to see. And then it kind of went a little bit downhill. Sasha Banks, who should have won, let's be honest, they should have started her heel turn, and then, whatever. But Sasha Banks got eliminated by taking a turnbuckle bump. It was an exposed turnbuckle, and it wasn't even fully exposed. Like the padding was like kind of like half off the turn. It was fucking weird. Charlotte pulled her into the turnbuckle that was like kind of exposed, and then pinned her off of that. And it's like, you're really gonna eliminate the like second best, arguably, like, shoot, Charlotte's probably better than Sasha, so arguably the second best women's wrestler on the planet. You're gonna eliminate her with a fucking turnbuckle bump at WrestleMania? Like, that was a little bit like, what the fuck are you doing? And then Bayley defeated Charlotte to win the match outright, which this, like, again, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, if the plan was to have Bayley beat Charlotte clean at Mania, why the fuck did you take away Charlotte's streak at Roadblock? Was it Roadblock? I don't even know. Excuse me. Like, I really don't understand that. I just... It boggles my mind that they did that shit. Because, like, why? It makes no sense to me. Like, yeah, Bayley winning at Mania is fine. Does she deserve a Mania moment? Yeah, she's a tremendous wrestler. But so does Sasha Banks. And Sasha Banks should have gotten it last year. But Charlotte got it last year. And that's perfectly fine. Because Charlotte, probably the best women's wrestler in the world. Like, I'd say so. And she got it last year, and she deserved it 100%. They all do, except for Nia at this moment. Give her time. Maybe she'll go up to their level. I don't see it, but yeah, I could be wrong. Yeah, I've been wrong a lot of times with people. I didn't like Daniel Bryan when I first saw him, and now Daniel Bryan's fucking great, and I'm sad that he can't wrestle anymore, you know? So it's... Anyways, yeah, man, it's just... I just don't understand the booking of this match, because what I would have done... I think I talked about it on the predictions video I did. I would have had Charlotte... I would have had them team up on Nia like they did, and I would have had Sasha eliminate Charlotte... or Bayley, it doesn't really matter. Just Charlotte goes out second. And then Sasha would turn heel on Bayley to win. And then you give Sasha her Mania moment. And then you can have them fucking feud until SummerSlam. And then have Bayley win it back at SummerSlam. And cement herself as like the top person in the women's division. And then maybe by then... You could have Charlotte come again to face her. You could have Nia if they think she's ready. Or if Paige isn't fired by then, you can bring Paige back and have her fucking take her on. There are so many possibilities, but like it's just, it doesn't make sense to do what they did because they fucking ended the streak. So there was no significance in Charlotte losing clean or losing at all at Mania. You know, it was... I don't know. They dropped the ball with the match a bit. I think the match was cut short because of that fucking Pitbull concert, which was fucking dreadful. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't understand the booking of that match. But now we go on to the greatest, possibly the greatest moment of the night. Probably the best moment of the night, and one of the greatest moments in WrestleMania history, in my personal opinion. The fucking Hardys returned and got added to the Fatal 4-Way ladder match for the Raw Tag titles. The pop that they got from the crowd was fucking enormous. There were... How many people were there? Like 75,000 people? All of them were chanting delete fucking... And it seemed like they kept their broken... It's... Based on the interviews that I saw on WWE's YouTube and shit like that and what they were doing in the ring, they're kind of like half broken. It's kind of they're like we are broken, but we can't say we're broken until our legal shit with TNA has blown over type deal. You know what I mean? But yeah, the pop they got was fucking huge. Jeff looked like he was the happiest fucking man in the world, because with Jeff, it's never been a secret that he wanted to go back to WWE, you know what I mean? He's always said it in interviews, and the WWE is the Hardys' home. That's where they started, you know, that's probably where they'll end their careers. Hopefully that's where they'll end their careers. They definitely belong. It was a great match. Fucking Jeff did a swanton off like a 40-foot ladder through Sheamus and Cesaro on two fucking ladders set up at ringside. He didn't go through both ladders. He only went through the one Cesaro was on. Sheamus's ladder didn't break because he only got like the feet of Jeff. I think he didn't go far enough with his jump, but whatever, man. It was still a fucking great moment. And then, yeah, the Hardys won, man. It was fucking... Because the New Day came out, right? And they were like, as our host, we got to inform you, there's been another team added to this match. And they were in their wrestling gear to swerve people. But the whole time in my head, I'm like, the Hardys. It has to be the Hardys. Please be the Hardys. And when their fucking music hit, man, I was so happy, man. I was like, what the fuck? I was just... Fucking, I have a friend who hasn't watched wrestling since 2010, and he fucking messaged me. He's like, the Hardys are back. What the fuck? That's dope. And I'm like, yeah, like that's how big of a moment it is. Fucking, like, it was great, man. One of the best moments of all time in WrestleMania history, in my opinion. It's just such a nostalgic feeling to see somebody from your past that you love and cherish so much and have such, like, respect for return. You know, it was a great moment. Hopefully they win the legal dispute with TNA and they can keep their broken gimmick, and then hopefully the WWE handles them right. But for now, just a great moment. Then you had John Cena and Nikki Bella versus Miz and Maurice. It was what everybody expected. Cena and Nikki won, and then Cena proposed. For me, I didn't like it. I didn't, and I'll tell you the reason why. It was the typical, like, 2009, 2010, 2008, 2009, 2010 John Cena, where somebody would beat his ass and then all of a sudden, 5 moves of doom, oh no, bam, you lose while Cena wins. The Miz was in control for the majority of the match, and then all of a sudden Cena turned it around and fucking won. And they did the double 5-knuckle shuffle thing. They did the double finisher thing with the attitude adjustment and whatever the fuck Nikki calls her new finisher. You know, it's and they won. And the thing is, Cena had Miz pinned, right? But fucking Nikki didn't have Maurice pinned yet, and the ref waited for Nikki to get Maurice in the pin, and it was a solid, like, 3 count before Nikki even got Maurice in a pin. So fucking Miz was down for a 6 count, which is like, really, man? Miz is on the run of his career, and you're gonna fucking do him like that at Mania? That was shit. The fucking proposal was corny as fuck. Like, for some people who like the fucking, like, I don't know, man. It was just, I didn't like it. I really don't care that Cena and Nikki are gonna get married. Who really gives a fuck? It doesn't affect the WWE product. Like, you know, Nikki is probably done after this because of her neck. That's what the rumors are saying, and you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really matter for me. I don't give a fuck about their relationship. I don't give a fuck that he proposed. The man's fucking loaded, though, because the fucking ring was fucking huge. Shit would have looked big on Great Khali. Fucking hell. Which is as expected. The man's fucking rich. But yeah, I don't know, man. It was like a, you know, it was like that typical drama, you know, like, what the fuck? It's, fucking hell, man. I forget the word of the fucking, I forget the phrase of the type of media it is, or the type of television it is. But yeah, it was, I don't know, man. I didn't like it. I really didn't. They made Miz look really bad. Maurice and Nikki didn't really wrestle. They were on the side, which, you know what? It's a shame that they didn't get to wrestle, because I wanted to see if Maurice could still go, because she wasn't bad last time she wrestled, but she wasn't anything special either. So I wanted to see how she could go in the ring. But at the same time, John and Miz got the match they deserved back at 27. They got a match where it was about them, not about the fucking Rock. Which is fine, but at the same time, like, they kind of buried the Miz a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't derail him, because he's on the run of his career. He deserves. I hope he gets the IC title back. I hope he's in the picture for the world title. You know, he's really good, man. And it's a shame that they had to go that way with the match instead of having like an even match and then John Cena just getting ahead. You know, because yeah, it made him look weak. Next was Seth Rollins and Triple H in their non-sanctioned match. It was fine. It was nothing special for me. You know, I didn't think of it as like match of the night contendership or anything like that. It wasn't especially good for me, at least. A big part of that could be that my stream was kind of laggy around this match. Triple H's entrances are kind of weird now. He got a fucking police escort to the ring, and he was driving like a motorcycle with Stephanie in the back of it, or whatever the fuck. I don't know, man. And he just, like, Stephanie was dressed like a fucking 40-year-old woman dressing like a teenager or whatever the fuck. It's like, fucking, it's like, I don't know, man. It's fucking, it's like those porno movies where like the mom sleeps with like the daughter's boyfriend or some shit, like that type of deal of like a tie. It was fucking weird, man. God damn it. Triple H was wearing like a fucking like motorcyclist jacket or whatever the fuck. Seth's entrance was pretty cool, man. He came out with like a fucking stick and it had like fire on the end of it, and he fucking put it down and it like lit up the whole fucking ramp. And he was wearing probably his second best attire of his career. I think the one he wore at SummerSlam in 2015, the white and gold one, is probably his best, but he wore like an all gold with like black trim type thing, and it was fucking, it was really, really nice attire. It was, like I said, it was a fine match. They worked the knee a bit. They fucking traded pedigrees, all that shit. The one cool thing, I guess, would be that Steph took a bump through a table. But it wasn't like Seth did it on purpose. He literally like hit fucking Triple H, and like Triple H knocked into her on the apron, and then she took the bump, and fucking Seth won. Nothing special for me, but it wasn't bad by any means. So Seth won, right call. On to the next match. This really pissed me off. This match was for the WWE Championship. Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. The match itself was not very good. I'll be the first to say. Again, my stream was kind of lagging for this match a little bit as well. I missed the finish for the match, by the way. Like, I missed the finish. So I know it was an RKO, but I don't know like how he got the RKO. I don't know if it was Bray doing his what I really didn't like about this match was they went really goofy with Bray's gimmick. Bray did his like corner taunt for the Sister Abigail, where he like grabs the ropes and he hangs back and he does that thing, and then like maggots and like cockroaches and some sort of like insects got projected onto the ring as like mind games. It's like, that doesn't really work, man. Like, really. The match itself wasn't too great. The crowd didn't really seem too into it. And it kind of got lost in the shuffle, which is a shame because it had potential to be a good match. And it should have been a good match, but they went a really weird way with it. And Randy won, which really pisses me off because Randy Orton does not need the championship. Randy Orton does not need the win at Mania. Randy Orton is a made man. He is fucking, he's a guaranteed Hall of Famer at this point, right? He's going to go into the Hall of Fame at 100%. He's going to be a star no matter what the fuck happens to him. After Brock Lesnar beat him within an inch of his life, he's still a star. It's Randy Orton. His star is not going to diminish. His popularity won't like fucking take a drop. Like, he's always going to be regarded as like a star in the WWE. Why the fuck are you having him beat Bray Wyatt for the WWE title at Mania? Bray Wyatt needed it a lot more than fucking Randy Orton. Bray Wyatt is now 0-3 at Mania when he should be 2-3, because losing to Undertaker is understandable, but when he lost to fucking John Cena, that was bullshit. And today, last night when he lost to Randy, that was bullshit as well. It's just, I don't understand why they won't get behind Bray, because Bray he's good in the ring. He could pull off a good match if it's given time and there's a good story with it and all that stuff. Go back to the Royal Rumble in what was it, 2014, I think, or 2013 and 2014 Rumble, when with his match with fucking Daniel Bryan. Like, that was a great fucking match. He's had good matches since then. It's just he's good in the ring. He's fantastic on the mic. He's so interesting. He's that like Undertaker-esque character that we don't see anymore, and it's they won't get behind him, which really pisses me off, because if they get behind him, he will be a star 100%. I have no doubts about it, but they just don't seem to want to get behind him. He had a 1-month championship reign, and he deserves so much better. And I saw people on Twitter going like, oh, who cares that Bray's 0-3? He's going to get a good push one day anyways. Jeff Hardy didn't win at Mania until tonight, blah, 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 blah. That's not the point. The point is, Jeff Hardy had that one match that, like, Jeff Hardy was given that platform. Bray hasn't been given the platform. Jeff Hardy was in that fucking TLC match, and that launched it, you know? Everybody in that TLC match was fucking made from that point. Bray hasn't been given anything like that, because they won't get behind him. And it's fucking, it makes me upset, because he's so good, and he deserves so much more, but they're giving the title to fucking 40-year-old Randy Orton. 35, I don't know how old he is. He's actually probably pretty young. He started wrestling really young. But it's not, I don't understand it. I really don't. If they have a good story, if on SmackDown it branches off into something really good, then fine. You know what? If it branches off into a really good story and they continue the feud in a good way, then fine. I'm all behind it. But if it was just Randy Orton wins at Mania because he's Randy Orton, that's bullshit. Next, you have Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg for the Universal title. This was surprisingly very good. It was like 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes 40. I think the official time was 4:47, 4 minutes 47 seconds. It was really good, surprisingly really good. It was literally just like a big move showcase. Fucking Brock hit him with some Germans, and then he hit him with like 2 or 3 Germans, and then Goldberg got up right away, hit him with a spear, hit him with another spear. Brock rolled out. He speared him through the fucking... Goldberg speared Brock through the barricade, and then they got back into the ring. I think Goldberg hit him with a spear, and then jackhammer. Brock kicked out of the jackhammer, which I didn't watch a lot of wrestling in 2003, so I'm not sure if Triple H ever kicked out of the jackhammer. Maybe he did, because it was Triple H's burying run back then, but... I don't think anybody in WCW kicked out of the jackhammer, and I'm not entirely sure if anybody did before. Like I said, though, I very well could be wrong. He kicked out of that shit. He hit like 10 Germans in total that match, or more than 10. He maybe hit 10 in a row. I don't know. I just know like he got a 10 chant going because he hit a 10th German. And then, there was a spot in the match before he went on, like, a German spree. After he kicked out of the fucking... What the fuck? I literally just said the name, like, 2 seconds ago, and I can't remember... Jackhammer. Fucking hell. When he kicked out of the jackhammer, he got up into the corner, and then Goldberg was going to spear him again, and the motherfucker jumped over Goldberg. Brock Lesnar, 300-something pounds, or like 2-something, 3-something pounds, like, motherfucker jumped over Goldberg. I think his foot maybe caught Goldberg's head, though, because Goldberg kind of seemed out of it. I think he maybe got a concussion, but he kind of seemed like kind of wobbly after that spot. Yeah, he went on a German spree, and then he hit an F5, 1, 2, 3, Brock Lesnar won. Right result, obviously, because I doubt Goldberg's going to stay on any longer after this. Maybe he'll cut a promo tonight on Raw, who knows. But, yeah, there's... You know, it was a good match for what it was. It was surprisingly very good. It was literally just like a fucking... slobber knock. It was not a slobber knocker though. I don't know. It was just like a big match, big move showcase in a small condensed period of time. It was fine. It was really good for what it was. Surprisingly, I'm glad it was in the main event though. Then you had the SmackDown Women's Championship match, which was unfortunately nothing special. They literally just had it as like breathing room between Brock and Goldberg and the main event of Roman and Undertaker. It was. Everybody got their moves in, and it was fine and all that. Becky Lynch did a exploder suplex to James Ellsworth, which was kind of funny. In the end, though, Naomi made Alexa Bliss tap out, and Naomi won the title. They probably never should have taken the title off of her, which I don't think that was their plan. Honestly, I think they probably just didn't know the severity of her injury. They probably didn't know if she'd be able to be cleared in time for Mania, so that's probably why they took it off her when they did. For me, I would have saved her return until WrestleMania itself. Actually, you know what? Now that the Hardys returned, it wouldn't have really been that special, right? So I guess it makes sense that they did that on Friday. Or Tuesday. What the fuck? SmackDown's not on Fridays. Jesus. And then it was time for the main event, which was good, I guess. It was a good match. The Undertaker started off in control, and then Roman Reigns slowly took over to show that Undertaker is like a veteran and he's older and he's like, I guess, past his prime. The theme of the match was that Undertaker is like, he's not the Undertaker anymore. Really, he's past his prime and he can't go at that level anymore. There was one moment in the match. It was a decent match. Roman speared him through the announce table, from one announce table onto the next, which was a pretty good spot. There were a lot of it was announced as no holds barred right before it was about to start. they announced the match as no holds barred like right before the entrances started, and it was like fucking okay. Like, really? Like, okay, whatever. But yeah, it was a decent match. The match isn't the main part of this though. It's what happened afterwards. There's one more thing I want to talk about in the match. In the match, after like 4 or 5 spears or 3 spears or whatever the fuck it was, Undertaker kicked out of a bunch of spears, and then he went to do his sit-up thing, and he couldn't sit up. He tried sitting up, he got like 3/4 of the way, and then he fell over. And that, for me, excuse me, that for me is probably going to go down in time up with those, the I'm sorry I love you moment from Shawn and HBK. That's the same person. Shawn and Ric Flair. And then Shawn, like, grasping onto Taker in their match. I think Undertaker failing to sit up and then falling over is going to be an iconic moment, up with the likes of those 2 moments I just mentioned, because it showed like he was past it. There was also an unintentional spot which showed that it was probably time, but they tried to do a like reversing the tombstone into another tombstone, and they couldn't get Taker up into the position for the tombstone, which is probably an indicator that it's probably time for Taker to retire, which he did seemingly after the match. I say seemingly because Undertaker could turn around and be like, I want to wrestle next year. You know, he could do that if he wanted. He has that privilege. It's the Undertaker. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, pretty much. But I think that is Undertaker's last match. He left his gloves in the ring afterwards. He left his coat in the ring. He left his hat in the ring. He broke kayfabe by going to go and kiss his wife, Michelle McCool. And Undertaker never broke kayfabe. He broke kayfabe he broke kayfabe when Ric Flair retired, and he broke kayfabe, I think, at like a house show or something, and when it was somebody's birthday, or they were remembering, I think it might have been remembering Eddie Guerrero's passing at a house show, and he broke kayfabe for it or something. He doesn't break kayfabe. He's a true professional. He's a veteran. Like, he's old school mentality. And he went out on his back. Roman Reigns won. I forgot to mention. Undertaker went out putting somebody over. Old school mentality. And he's done, man. It's really sad to say. A lot of people were complaining. They were going like, oh, Ric Flair was retired by Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was retired by The Undertaker. Undertaker was retired by ... Roman Reigns, ? It's like, Undertaker chose him himself. That's what people are saying. Undertaker chose Roman Reigns himself. I don't like Roman Reigns as a face. I think having Roman win clean is a waste of potential for the match. Having him win as a heel would have been a really good thing, but they didn't go for it. So it's something. If Undertaker chose Roman Reigns himself, I respect his decision completely, because I'm not a fan of Roman Reigns, but if it's Undertaker's choice for his retirement, then you have to respect it. The man's done so much for the business. For me, Undertaker is the personification of professional wrestling. He's good in the ring. He has a character that's larger than life. He makes you feel emotions, whether it's in the ring or out of the ring. You know, like, he's one of the greatest of all time, possibly the greatest of all time. From like a broad standpoint, not just in the ring, not just out of like everything combined. He's one of the best, possibly the best wrestler of all time. And it's really sad to see him retire. And it still hasn't really sunk in on me yet. Cuz he's been in wrestling since I first started watching. He's been in wrestling since a lot of people started watching. And it's such a weird moment cuz it's hard to put it in words because he's done so much for the business, and he pretty much he is the business, and there's nobody like him on his level left. The only person similar is Bray Wyatt with his character, but even that's not close to The Undertaker. And I don't think there'll ever be anybody like him again. I don't think anybody will surpass his accomplishments. I really don't. And it's just, it's just those. You could see how worn out he was in the ring. You could tell he was done by the way how long he stayed in the ring and how he just looked around for a solid like maybe 5 minutes. He just looked in the crowd, just taking it all in for the last time. And he broke kayfabe and he left all his shit in the ring, and it's just he's done. He's retired. And it's hard to take because he's been there since childhood, and he's it's really, I'm stumbling over my words because it's hard to put into words how much he meant to the business. And it's a WrestleMania moment, as cliche as that is, since that's what they fucking brand. It's a moment that will never be forgotten. And usually Mania moments are happy, like the Hardys returning, and like Chris and Eddie celebrating at 20 and stuff like that. But there are also sad moments like the "I'm sorry, I love you" moment, and now this, and it's sad to see him go, but it was probably time. And it's just whenever people say that so many people say that wrestling doesn't make you feel emotion, and I think tonight is probably, or not tonight, I guess, last night, I guess, is probably a great example of how it does. Because there were fucking grown men in the crowd crying, and there were grown men backstage, I'm sure, crying that Undertaker was done. And he ended it off with his typical standing at the ramp with his back to the camera and raising his hand, and he went down into the ramp, and that's the last we've seen of Undertaker in an in-ring capacity, which is insane to think, and it still hasn't sunk in, and it's weird, and he's a guy you see once a year, and it still feels like he's just there, but yeah, he'll be missed greatly. But yeah, that's it. I rambled on for way too long about some things. It's a fucking 45-minute fucking video. That's great. You could probably, play video games or fucking clean, or I don't know, fucking do some random tedious work while listening to this shit. Oh man. But yeah, I think WrestleMania this year, it wasn't anything too special for me, but it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. It exceeded expectations greatly for me. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I genuinely think it was good. There were some really low points, but the high points, outshined the low points. So, yeah, 8 out of 10 from me. Pretty good WrestleMania. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, all that bullshit. Let me know down in the comments if you liked WrestleMania, what you would have done differently, all that bullshit. Who do you think's gonna fucking show up on Raw and SmackDown this week? Apparently there are some people who are like guaranteed Shinsuke, Tai, and Cien Almas. So let me know where you think they're gonna end up, Raw or SmackDown, shit like that. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.